Hey guys, alright, I've kind of put the little test sled together, somewhat assembled the concept. So this is it. This little piece I probably don't need. I was just using that to kind of mount some of this crazy RC stuff that I've ripped apart. So so it runs pretty good. It's pretty smooth. It has a little bit of play in it, so I'll have to work on adjusting that. I think that's mainly because of the little sliders have foam on the bottom. Oops, just dropped it. Basically they have foam, and I just stuck them on instead of gluing it. If I glue it like I did this piece here, then it will probably be a lot or it'll have a lot less play on the whole setup. So, but these kind of make it springy. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, because it's just foam. So just a concept idea, and I think this is what I'm going to end up with. It should work out pretty good. As far as making it propelled with the car, I'm going to have to rethink that. I ran into a few issues with the motor not being strong enough, especially running off of a bunch of AA batteries, and the microcontroller inside of this little RC car is just not all that great. So I was expecting to run into some issues with that. If I throw like a real RC battery onto the motor, it just on itself, it has tons of torque and power and will move it right along. But then I lose the ability to control it with a hand controller remotely, and then I don't have the microcontroller to make it go forward and reverse. So now I could do something like this. This is my microcontroller for my RC car. It's real tiny, and I could hook something like a servo for an RC car up to it. This is like a servo for a normal car. Now this one's kind of modified because it's a high torque servo and it broke itself. And what I was thinking about doing is removing the servo stops inside of it. So basically it turns 180 degrees and it stops, and then the other way 180 degrees. So I have to remove the stops, and if I do that, then I can make it continually turn 360 degrees. And this would have enough power to pretty much push or pull or do whatever it needs to do, and it would do it pretty slowly, which would be nice, because that's how I don't really want it to haul ass down the track. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to play with that. I tried sticking some new batteries in, and apparently this microcontroller inside of the cheap toy won't handle the high voltage batteries. I mean, they're not really high voltage, but they're rechargeable. You know, they have a higher, you know, milliamp to them, I guess, or whatever it's called. So I don't know. It didn't like it. I stuck them in, and those are brand new, fully recharged, and it just didn't work. So something weird going on with that. So I'm gonna have to rethink the RC toy, trying to propel it. I may have to step it up to a more professional servo setup and controller. I have some higher quality controllers over there, but I don't know if it's really worth going through all that trouble. I really do want to have it, you know, move on its own, either remotely or via a switch or something like that. It's real handy to do, because if you're leaning over the car trying to measure something and you're using the laser, then it's nice to just be able to hold the switch or hold the controller and just move the laser along without having to stop what you're doing and get up and move it and then come back. And you know, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do where you need the guide to be there as you're sculpting or moving or whatever. So anyway, so I really want to try to make this propel itself somehow, either with this toy parts, and see if I can, you know, do the Frankenstein thing with all this and make it work. Or I can always go back to the cable setup. I was just thinking earlier that previously on the other gantry setup, I had a series of cables and like a windshield wiper motor that ran the whole system, and it did great. That windshield motor was real strong, and I could do the same thing with a lot less work now that I think about it, and I'd only need to loop the cable just up and down this length. But I'm still trying to get away from that because it's just, I don't know, it's a mess to have to deal with the cable and the tensioning and the setup and all that. So we will see. So I'm going to explore the ideas, and if you guys have any ideas on how I can make that move, you know, there's a few different ways. I was thinking about, you know, sticking some wheels at the end, having it, you know, rest on the wheels as it turned, but then I have to build brackets and motors and mounts and all that stuff. So I was hoping I would just be able to, you know, clamp this little assembly onto it and or bolt it on or something, and have it work, but that doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. So anyway, I've chatted enough, so I guess I'll update you on the next video and keep you posted on what I come up with. And like I said, you guys feel free to shoot some ideas if you can think of a easier way to move this along this rail, remotely or not, or via wire. I don't really care, as long as I have some kind of switch I can, you know, hold in my hand to move it would be helpful. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.